Ian Garry thinks his last 5 fights are more significant than Islam's, so let's compare them both side by side. Number 1, Ian Garry, Belal Muhammad. Belal actually didn't shoot for a ton of takedowns. He did towards the end of round 2, round 3, but Ian is good at just forcing the way that he wants to fight, forcing the small exchanges in which he comes out on top, and Belal just couldn't find an answer. Islam Makhachev, Jack de la Madalena, the most recent outing for Islam, and boy, it wasn't close. Now, Islam, in an interview by MMA Junkie, but in that interview, Mike Bond and Islam were talking about the fact that Islam, for the Jack de la fight, just wanted to get the belt. He wasn't as concerned about finishing his opponent, which he does want to do. He said in that interview, I want to finish fighters. I want to get the submission. I want to get the TKO or whatever it is. So he wasn't actually happy with that fight. He said he wasn't happy how that fight ended because he wanted to get a decision. But it was because he wanted to get the belt. It was because he didn't really care the means by which he got that second belt. That's a big deal, is getting that second belt. So he was more concerned with the victory than getting the finish. He wants to go into the Ian Garry fight to get a finish. So whether you're watching this before the Ian Garry fight or after, he said he wants to get the finish in this fight. We'll see how it changes. Number 2, Ian Garry, Carlos Prates. This fight is worth going back and watching. What a fight. If you're a Carlos Prates fan, it wasn't a fun night. Man, I remember hearing all of this hullabaloo about how great Carlos is. He's unbeaten in 10 fights or something like that. Incredibly exciting striker. That's the can't speak English. Fan-friendly style that UFC fans appreciate. He comes into this fight and he just doesn't get going. At the middle of round 2, Ian Garry had landed more strikes than Carlos Prates had even attempted. Let me say that again. Landed more than Prates even attempted. It was not even close. Ian Garry just looked like the quicker fighter. The exchanges were on his terms. He came out on top of every single striking exchange. And he also mixed it up by threatening the takedown. He would do some exchanges up top, as Carlos wants to do. Then he would go for a takedown. He wouldn't really commit all that much effort. He would go for a takedown, and then it was clear it wasn't going to work out. He would just kind of bail, and they'd stand up, and they'd keep going. But this is where Ian Garry shines, because there's been plenty of fights that aren't fun to watch of Ian Garry's, but this was not one of them. Ian was just great, and he has this interesting stance, too. He stands at this almost forward lunge, like, you know, one of those yoga poses, like a forward lunge. He hunches forward rather than staying in the middle, or sometimes, you know, you want to slip backwards. He has a lot of weight on the front leg, but they don't really, they aren't able to punish his front leg. He's pretty good at checking those kicks. He's speedy, so he's good at checking those kicks, going in and out when he wants to take an advantageous trade or an exchange. And really, it's not much of an exchange. It's just Ian landing a 1-2 or a kick here and there and then backing out. Or even a 1-2, 3, you know, 3 or 4 punches in a row. It was 5 rounds. It wasn't close. There was one moment at the very end of round 5. There was some awkward scuffle, a wrestling exchange. They were on the ground, and Carlos, for a very small amount of time after being beaten pillar to post for 5 rounds straight, Carlos had a small window where he was raining down a few blows on top of Ian, and it looked pretty bad, actually. It looked like he could get finished in this sequence. You could tell Ian was not happy with how things were going down on the ground, but he was able to roll out of it and just kind of escape the whole thing eventually. That was the only window where Carlos did any significant damage the entire 25 minutes. Number 2, Renato Moicano. This was a 1 or 2 day notice. Renato was preparing to fight. I think it was originally Beneil Dariush, if I remember correctly, but he was planning to fight someone else that day, and they said, hey, you want to fight the champion Islam Makhachev instead? And he said, easy money. No, I'm joking with you, Renato. It wasn't close, okay? Renato got absolutely destroyed in round 1 by a submission. Renato, I love you. I love what you said over in France. Don't come at me. I'm just saying it wasn't close. I appreciate what you said about France and the government and what you've said about financial literacy. You also have the best sense of humor in the game, right up there with Murad Bavalishvili. So he's a great guy, but that fight with Islam, it wasn't close. Wasn't close. Number 3, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Garry. This was a very interesting one because we're going to go over about how Ian Garry had a small issue with Jeff Neal's clench work. And I think what happened is Shavkat saw the Jeff Neal fight. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he saw the Ian Garry and Jeff Neal fight, and he said, "Jeff had some success in the clinch work. I'm going to capitalize on that." You've got to be sure that Shavkat is going back over fights and reviewing to make sure that his game plan is good. And that would only have been at that time when Shavkat and Ian fought. That only would have been 2 fights ago. So he for sure would have seen that clinch work. He would have seen a gap, and boy, did he exploit it. Ian, I guess, just had no answers for the clinch work. Shavkat was able to push him up against the fence and end it on his terms. Dustin Poirier, number 3. Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev. You've probably heard me talk about Dustin before. Big fan. He has a fun, exciting fight style. He's in there to bang, stands and strikes. He actually took him to round 5, which is a feat in and of itself. Islam literally has a mark from Dustin. Dustin left his mark on Islam Makhachev's forehead. What a fight. And it takes the sting out of the defeat a little bit because Islam has a respect. Khabib has a respect for Dustin. And so when you lose, it's like, okay, it's different because we have a mutual respect. It takes the sting off of defeat a little bit, knowing that, hey, your opponent respects you. We're talking about the greatest warriors in the world right here. You don't really have that much to be ashamed of. You want to win, sure. But man, Islam, I'll never forget, he got a hold of that foot and he didn't let that. It was like catching, I saw a video of Islam trying to catch a fish. He was on Instagram really wrestling. It's like he got that thing and he just was right. He did not let that ankle go, that foot go. He yanked. I remember it was like 3 tugs. Yanked it, and finally yanked. And down goes Dustin Poirier, unfortunately. Gets the submission Bravo choke. If it's not pronounced correctly, fight me, I guess. Number 4, Michael Venom Paige versus Ian Garry. Pretty much everything I just said about Shavkat, it was exactly the same with this fight, just the opposite. Ian Garry just completely nullified Michael Venom Page's striking. You might have thought, well, okay, you have this guy in Michael Page who likes to dart in and dart out really quickly. You have a guy in Ian Garry who likes to kind of do the same thing, less darty, but he's going to go in for an exchange, 1, 2, 3, and he's going to get out. He's not going to stand there and brawl like a Gaethje or, stand and bang like Max Holloway. He's going to go in. He's going to choose favorable striking sequences, and then he's just going to get out. He's going to move off to the corners. You hear about the city kickboxing guys talk about this. You hear about Alexander Volkanovski or Israel Adesanya. They're good at just rotating off in the corners. If somebody's pressing you, just go to the side. Just go that way. Like Craig Jones says, just stand up, but in that direction. And so maybe seemingly like a similar sort of a style where they both want to go in and get out real quick, but Garry just completely nullified Michael Venom Page's style. He grabbed onto him, didn't let him go, pretty much clenched, wrestled him for the decision victory. Number 4 and number 5 are closely related, but we'll keep going in the same format. So this would be Alexander Volkanovski, Islam Makhachev 2. In this fight ended by a head kick KO, and this is the moment we all went, wait a minute. He has more than just the wrestling. He has more than just the dominance. This guy just threw a full roundhouse, if I'm not mistaken, full roundhouse kick to the head and knocked out Alexander Volkanovski. Hard to watch. Another fan-friendly fighter, just a wholesome guy, loves his family. And you don't want to see these guys knocked out on the canvas. You don't want to see them take permanent brain damage or anything like that. But it's the sport in which we love so dearly. And number 5, Jeff Neal, Ian Machado Garry. Like I said previously, Jeff found a little bit of success pushing up Ian against the cage, making it dirty, but ultimately Ian would go 3 rounds and find the decision victory against Jeff Neal. And then taking it back to number 5, this would be Alexander Volkanovski versus Makhachev 1. In this fight was very different. This fight I will never forget. There's certain moments that are just burned into your brain. I don't know why I'm doing this with my like I'm Trump. They're burned in your mind. It's the best mind. They're burned in your mind. It's burned into my mind that Islam had Volkanovski's back. Volkanovski is in his home country wailing, just punching back at Islam. And I remember my buddy being like, man, you can't say you won if someone's whacking you in the head like that. So unfortunate, but that's what it was. Wins a decision at 25 minutes over Alexander Volkanovski. Guys, if you like these videos, please subscribe. There's no one on earth that loves the sport and respects it in the way that I do at this channel. I hesitate to even call it a sport because these are warriors going to war. Subscribe here, and if you like stories of the most incredible fighters in the world, go check out my other page. Owen Lee Productions. I put a lot of time, money, and effort into these incredible documentaries. And when I say incredible, I don't mean to like toot my own horn. I mean, these guys have incredible stories. These guys come from the favela, like Charles Oliveira, like Alex Pereira. They come from harsh places in Lafayette, Louisiana, like Dustin Poirier. These guys come from rough backgrounds. They have incredible stories, really, really beautiful outcomes. Beautiful to see them, turn their life around and make something. Some of them, even, they'll tell you, hey man, I'd have been in prison if I didn't find this amazing sport. I love doing my best to tell their stories, and my goal is to take as much money as I possibly can and just keep pouring into these documentaries. I want to travel the world. I want to meet these guys. I want to see the alleys where they got beat up. I want to see the gym that they first enrolled in to go and train in this sport. I want to meet their gym coach. I want to see their hometown. I want to be able to tell these guys stories from their perspective. I want to get their perspective on, how they grew up and how they became top contenders in one of the most difficult sports in the world. So that's the vision. That's the goal. If you're willing to support that, if you're able to, go watch the videos, subscribe, support in any way that you possibly can. I've got a coffee. We're working on a Patreon very soon. It might be listed below, but the coffee is for sure up. They take a smaller percentage, so I like coffee more than Patreon. But whatever way you can support, I appreciate it. Subscribe at both channels. We'll see you soon. Oh, and go outside, touch grass, train hard so you can kick butt.